This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, I hope you're having a good day so far. The point of this video tutorial is to show you how to find journal articles and other sources using EBSCO databases. In particular, this video will focus on Academic Search Premier. So to get us started, we are going to find a library site, and if you click on library resources and the quick links here, that's the easiest way to take you to the library site. And see, there it goes. So to start with, this is what the Saybrook Library site looks like if you haven't used it before, and you'll notice that Noah's email address is up here at the top of the screen. Just in case you have a library question, you can ask your instructor or you can ask the librarian, and we're all here to help you. On the left side, you'll see the site navigation. We're at the home section right now. There are all different types of sources in here. So you can click on news and get to news sources. You can get to different articles. Those would be scholarly and popular articles. That's where we'll be focused on today. If you want to look for books, ebooks especially, then you can click on books. There's a reference collection. That would be things like encyclopedias and other types of sources. Below that, you'll see dissertations. ProQuest Dissertations and Theses is the main resource that we have. So if you're looking to see if a dissertation has been on your topic, you want to see what's been done before, that's a good place to go. And down below that are tests and measurements, which might be especially helpful for some of you. There are a couple other resources, the writing and citing, if you are curious about learning how to write a little bit better, or you don't know how to cite, or you're just curious about what resources are in there, that's another good place to go. And then videos. There is a DOI resolver. If you have a DOI and you're trying to figure out what the article is, you can use that. I skipped over this index to full text. We're not going to talk about that that particular one in this video, but the index to full text is wonderful if you have a source that you are looking for. Maybe you found a source in the references page that was that the article talked about, and you're looking for something specific, then I recommend using that index to full text. So if you're looking for something specific, use index to full text. But if you don't have a specific resource in mind, then you might want to come in here to articles. And as you go through articles, as I said, that would be scholarly articles, including journal articles, peer-reviewed articles, but it will also be magazines and newspaper articles. There are different features in each database that you can use to limit to just scholarly and peer-reviewed sources, but you have to make sure and click the right buttons to narrow your search. So I'm going to show you this list. You will see a pretty big list of different databases here. Some of them you may be familiar with, some of them may be new to you. And basically what a database is it has, it's a collection of a lot of different sources. For the most part, the ones here are article databases, as I was talking about earlier. There are different vendors. So there's ProQuest here, and then there's EBSCO. There are several other vendors as well, but ProQuest and EBSCO are two of the bigger ones that you'll see. And then to the right of there, it mentions subject. So if you're curious what subject area is covered in that particular database, that's a good place to look. And there's a little bit of a blurb right below each one to tell you what's included as well. So I mentioned that we are going to focus on EBSCO in this one. Here's EBSCO. And also here's Academic Search Premier. This is an alphabetical list, so it's easy to find. It's at the top of the list, so I'm going to go ahead and click there. And I like Academic Search Premier because it's a great place to start your research. It's a good general database. It's interdisciplinary, so whatever topic you have, this is a nice place to begin. There are other places to start your research as well, and really, it's best to go to the web or just kind of more general sources first, so that you can really get a basic understanding of your topic before you go into some of these databases. If you don't know the basics about your topic, you're not going to know what to type into the box and what you're looking for. So this particular database, as I said, has journals, magazines, magazine articles, and newspaper articles. But as I said earlier too, that you can narrow to just scholarly sources, and I'll show you how to do that as well. So to start with, we have different boxes up here at the top, and you'll notice in green it says Academic Search Premier. So if we're wondering where we're at, what we can do is we could type in a topic here. So I'm going to type in nutrition in the first box, and then in the second box, I'm going to type in case study. Now you'll notice in between and is selected. There are a couple other options, or not, in here as well. These are called Boolean operators. Now, and means I want to find articles on both of these two topics, as opposed to or, which would be either this one or this one. So that would broaden out your search. You won't want to do that unless you have synonyms in between things to search for. Oh, I don't care if it's this word or that word. That's one way you might use it. But usually you'll probably want to use and to make sure to narrow down your search. Otherwise, if I type in nutrition, all I'm going to find are articles on nutrition. If I look up case study, all I'm going to find are a lot of different case studies. If I type in both of those two words, then I want articles that are case studies and also on nutrition. And then I can click search. Now, one thing to think about when you're searching, though, is that I can find case study anywhere in the article. So it doesn't necessarily mean, so you see it says select a field here. So that doesn't mean it's in the title, that doesn't mean it's in the subject area. It's just somewhere in there. You can actually click this right here to have a lot more options. So if you just wanted to focus on case study being in the title or somewhere else, or maybe you know a specific author on your topic, you can narrow down by that way as well. We're just going to stick with this as a basic search, and then kind of look through this list. You'll notice we have over 2,000 different sources that came up. As I said before, be careful because not all of those are academic journal articles. If we want to narrow to just scholarly peer-reviewed journals, then there's this nice feature over here on the left. We can just put a check mark in that box. It will update our results. So now we still have over 2,000. We didn't eliminate very many because of the word case study, case studies, I'm sure. The other way we can narrow down is we can narrow down to full text if we want to. In some ways, I would say if you want to just see what's out there quickly and you want the full text right now and you don't want to have to wait, then clicking full text is okay to do. But just know that that is going to limit your search results. And there's actually this linker right here, this check for full text, that will link you out to another source if we have it in another database. So just because we don't have it in this database doesn't mean we don't have it in another one. Sometimes just the citing information is given and you have to link out somewhere else. Or even if we don't have it immediately available, then sometimes you can request it through interlibrary loan and then get the source that way. So if you want to narrow to full text, that's fine, especially if you're last minute. None of us are procrastinators here, right? But if you're doing your research last minute, you will want to narrow to full text probably so that you don't have to worry about all the other sources in there. I'll go ahead and narrow to full text just for the fun of it. And then we are down to 593 sources now. One other thing you might consider doing is oftentimes people say that it's best if you don't have anything older than 10 years. That's kind of a standard. So we can slide this little bar over here and we could say from 2009 to 2019. And then it will update that list again. And now we have 450 articles. One other fun thing to do is you can kind of scroll down here and then you can look and see there are other limiters. But the other fun thing I was just talking about is sometimes if you add quotation marks around certain words that you want to stay together, then that sometimes might change your search as well. So I'm going to go ahead and try it. We had 450. Sometimes it doesn't change anything. Yep, this one did a little bit, went to 343 now. So now we've got a manageable list with 343. You can keep narrowing down, maybe even to 5 years if you want to, or you could narrow in other ways. We could add another search term up here if we wanted to, or we can just explore and see what's out there. So I'm going to scroll through this list just so you can see what comes up. And it's kind of a mixed bag a lot of times, but you can start to see some of these titles. Okay, now I mentioned about the last 10 years, and one other thing I should say is that we narrowed to just the last 10 years. One other thing that we could do, as I said, was we could narrow down to the last 5 years. You want to be careful with narrowing down dates too much at times, though, because for some topics, you will want older articles. The reasons you might want older articles, there are several reasons. One would be if you're wanting something that defines the topic over time, or maybe you want one of the first definitions for a term that you're using, then you probably will want to not narrow down because maybe that topic has been around for several years and you want to see an article that first defined it. Or maybe just from a historical standpoint, you'll want to look at an article that's a little bit older. Another reason is if there's a certain author in that field that you're looking in, or if there is a seminal text that you're really interested, a classic text, then sometimes you are going to want to focus that way. So if there was for instance, there is a seminal article that everyone knows about in your field, if you limit to the last 5 years or 10 years, then you might lose that article. So that's another reason that you don't always want to narrow down by year. But it is good whenever you are discussing the literature to focus on the last 10 years. So I want to make sure to make that point as we were scrolling through this. So as I looked through here, I'm going to go ahead and click on this number 4 here, health and nutrition interventions, blah, 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 just to give us an example. So if I click on that one, then I am given the title, the author in this one, but sometimes and most of the time there's more than one author. There's a source listed here, that's the journal, the volume, the issue, the page numbers, all of that citing information. You'll notice right down below here are some subject terms. If you were to choose this article and think this was useful, you might want to look at these subject terms and start to search for those terms. Maybe they're a little bit more specific than you are, or maybe they're just a little bit different slant than you thought of your topic in. So make sure that you stay open with your topic because it can easily change after you start seeing what's out there. And all of these you can click on, or you could go ahead and type them in to the search bars up here. Down below, you'll see an abstract. That's just your nice little summary. You'll notice the terms that I used in those search bars at the top of the page are in bold, or yeah, I guess they're all just kind of bolded in the nutrition right here. Over here on the left-hand side, it says PDF full text. I'll get to that in just a minute, but before I do, I want to show you a few tools over here on the right side. So if you set up an EBSCO account, you can sign in up here at the top right. You will have to set up your own account in here. It won't necessarily be already linked or created for you as a Saybrook student. You'll have to create that. And it's a free account with EBSCO. If you create that, then you can click add to folder. Otherwise, if you click add to folder, it probably won't exist anymore if you X out of here, close your computer, do all that. It might be if you're lucky, but a lot of times it erases it after a certain time. So make sure that you're logged in into account if you want to add to folder. There's a print option here, an email option, a save, a cite, this nice cite button here. We can scroll down to APA. You can copy and paste that into a Word document. I always recommend looking through to make sure if there are errors. In this case, this author's last name has all capital letters, which as we know is not correct, so you'd have to fix that. This title has all capital letters throughout. Again, that's incorrect, so we'd want to fix that, but otherwise, most of it looks correct. The end of here You want the DOI if there is one, and then, or the publisher's website is second choice, and then third choice is the database. So we'd have to check on the DOI or the publisher's website. So this last part would probably be changed as well, but it's usually a decent start if you want to look there. There's an export button. So if you use something like RefWorks, you can export this citation into RefWorks. So that's another nice feature in this particular one. And then there's a permalink. So for instance, say you wanted to save this link to this article, I recommend not using this one at the top, the URL at the top of the page, because it's session specific as opposed to just being a permanent link. So instead, click permalink, copy and paste this link, and then you can make sure to save it. I'd go ahead and save the citation with it too, even if it's not perfect, just so I know the title, the author, that kind of information of what I have. So there's a little bit about what the record looks like. There are plenty of different tools for you to use. One other one, as I mentioned, is this full text, because you're looking through here going, well, this isn't the full text, Sarah, where is it? Okay, over here on the left, if the full text is available, it will list it over here as either PDF or HTML. I always prefer the PDF if it's available, because it is the actual kind of scanned in copy of what that article looked like from the journal, rather than it just kind of being just the text only. So if there were graphics or images or tables or any of that kind of stuff, then the PDF should include all of that. And then you can kind of just scroll through here. You saw the introduction. So as you're reading, then you'll just see the different parts of different sections. So there's the research setting, the case study, it's discussed. Again, like I mentioned, there's some nice tables in through here. Here's your nice method section, which you'll see in research articles. And then we should have a results section and a discussion section as well. So there's results and discussion. Again, those are kind of standard for research articles. And then down below, we should have a huge long list of references if, if it's like most academic journal articles. Hopefully you're not getting too dizzy by my scrolling, but I'm wondering where that's probably somewhere down below. I'm not going to keep going. So that is how that you could find an article and on a possible topic, and how that you access the full text. Now you'll notice too, another way that I could search is maybe I want to try, instead of nutrition and case study, maybe I just want to try nutrition and qualitative. Maybe I'm looking for a qualitative article on my topic. So again, I type nutrition into the first bar, I'm typing qualitative in the second bar. I did not click new search because I wanted to keep all of my limiters, but if I clicked on new search and typed in my terms again, then I'd have to make sure to come over to the limiters and check the ones that I wanted to use. So if I scroll through here, again, I get another nice list of articles that I can look at. The one we just clicked on, there it is right there, because it had qualitative in the title and it had case study in the title. But you'll notice now qualitative is in bold, not case study, because of the search terms that I used at the top of the page. One other thing is I mentioned that HTML full text versus PDF. Here's the HTML. And this particular article above here provides both. So, and just in case you liked either one, every source is a little bit different. That one provided both too. Okay. So that is how you can search in this particular database. There's one other option that I want to make sure and point out to you, and it's up here at the top, and it's called the subject terms. In Academic Search Premier, they have what's called subject terms. If you click on that, then you can come down here and in this search bar that's down below, you could type in a topic. I'm just going to type in nutrition. I haven't done this earlier, so we'll see what comes up. And then we can find our topic in the list and we could actually click on it. And then sometimes if it's actually in the list and comes up, it will give you a scope note, which is kind of how they're defining that particular term in this database. Sometimes it will give you broader terms, sometimes it will give you narrower terms, and look at this nice long list, and some related topics, how it's used for. So again, if you're wondering how can I narrow my search, how can I broaden it out, what are some other subtopics that I might want to consider, then it's always a good place to come in here to these subject terms and see what you can find. as you can tell, playing with the terms changes the results somewhat. So it's always good to try different terms, try synonyms, kind of trying to figure out, okay, what topic do I want to use? And then once you figure out what the people in the field are calling your topic, then that's a good word to use when you're searching. The last little bit that I want to show you is that this is just, Academic Search Premier is just one of the databases in EBSCO, and it mentions EBSCO right here, but there are a lot more EBSCO databases. So if you come up here to the top where it says Academic Search Premier, right next to it, it says choose databases. And if we click on that, we can actually select all, click OK. If we want to search in all of these at one time, that's going to save you time. Or if you just don't know which databases to search in, then you could just click all of the EBSCO ones. Now, no, these are just the EBSCO ones, they're not the ProQuest ones, and not the other ones that we have in that long list, just the EBSCO ones. And then again, I could type in nutrition, I could type in qualitative again if I wanted to, or a different topic this time, whatever I want to type in, and I get over 17,000 results. So if you get overwhelmed by a lot of results, you might not want this particular to choose databases and click all of them. It might be overwhelming, but if you're not finding anything on your topic, it might be a good place to start to see if there is anything out there. And then again, we can narrow the exact same way to full text. We can narrow to scholarly, just as we did earlier. We could narrow by date. This time it's all the way back to 1949 for some of the sources. And then again, right now we have 3,000. If we wanted to narrow, as I did earlier, I think we did 2009, I think was what we did. And then if we want to search by that, and we can see we get still over 2,000. And then again, we get another list of articles. Look, there's the one we clicked on earlier. One other nice feature then that this has is over here on the left-hand side, underneath those different limiters that we were limiting over here, like full text and scholarly peer-reviewed. One other thing you can look at is if you scroll down, it mentions database. Now, if you're curious as to which EBSCO database these articles were pulled from, you can just click show more, and it's going to show you Academic Search Premier pulled up this many, CINAHL pulled up 452, Health Source pulled up 309, and so on and so forth. And that way, then if you're curious about which database seemed to be a good one for your topic, then you could kind of look through here and see which ones had included your topic. So that's another nice feature to use as well. So just as a reminder, if you are on, let's see, on this site, the library site, we're going to click articles, and then we're going to click on near the top of the list, because it's an alphabetical list. This is being a little slow, I'm sorry. Then we're going to click on Academic Search Premier, and that will take you to the database that we use today. And choose databases is right up here too. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We are all here to help. Have a good day. Thanks.